Hey, what's up? The kanji grind continues. I don't know if these videos are actually that interesting or if anyone is out there demanding them, but I'm having fun doing them, and I really want to strike while the iron is hot, so to speak, and make as much progress as I can to kind of getting back into the habit of doing this a lot while the motivation and the initiative is with me. So we're heading into part 2 of the N4. There we go. It wasn't scrolling over too well. This is one that we've seen in a few other compounds, and I was pointing out it means body. So if you kind of think of this book radical as meaning kind of the true or real part of something, then the true or real part of a human is, unfortunately, just the body. And this shows up in all sorts of radicals or all sorts of compounds where it doesn't really literally mean just your physical body, but it does mean that too. So here, like physical strength, tairoku, has a lot to do with the body, but to say big body, daitai, to mean generally, I don't understand at all. This is to make, again, human, so you can kind of infer some sort of human activity, and I think of this as just like, look at all these things that have been added to bamboo. This radical here is kind of like used often for bamboo. You can tell it's slightly different than the human radical because it connects via a horizontal line instead of just connecting up to the diagonal line directly. Tsukuru, and a lot of things like tsukuru plus writing is the actual to make writing. Of course, there's also to write, which is slightly different, I suppose. A famous creation, meisaku, is your masterpiece. This second one here just means like someone, like the person who blank or whatever. So that's author, the making person or whatever. Good to know. This is younger sister. It's like woman and then market. So you can think maybe you're sending your little sister out to run errands for you. Oh no, it's older sister. You're sending your older sister out to run errands for you. Your younger sister, of course, is, yeah, it's this one. It's this one. I got them mixed up. Well, it was bound to happen eventually. We got our first incorrect answer. It's kind of an embarrassing one to mix up one and imoto. But yes, so when you screw up, you can see here it shows you the proper kanji, so that kind of helps you as well. That sucks. This is village. I'm gonna start scaring myself now. It's gonna start second guessing myself. So this is often used in compounds, as you can see here, to describe more, instead of like the place name of the village, the type of village it is. So if it's an agricultural village, a no-son, or a gyo-son, a fishing village. This is younger brother, I sure hope. Ototo, may have heard that before. And just like female siblings, where it was older sister, younger sister, here older brother, younger brother. A good way to remember this, I'm not really sure. It kind of reminds me of the kanji for week, which we haven't seen yet, like physically weak, not 7 days. So your younger brother is weak. You just bully him. This is younger sister, as we saw before. Imoto. So it doesn't go to the market. The younger sister goes to this tree, I suppose. This is to run. So the bottom kind of looks like leg. You can imagine if there was the mouth at the top, it would just be leg. And instead it's ground at the top. So you can kind of think of this big leg running over all this ground. Hashiri, hashiru, etc. It's used in some compounds to do with getting treated for a meal. Gochiso-sama, you've probably heard people say that, or gochiso, I'm gonna treat you or whatever. The other ones in here, this is like the drive, I'm pretty sure, horse place. This is like wishing for or something like that. I'm not sure, so it kind of makes sense. This is pond, ike, like the Ikea, which is a pun in one of Kurage Toro's wonderful Toho dojins that everyone keeps thinking he's saying that the characters are saying IKEA, but it's Ikea. It's not the store IKEA, but it's just the pond store. And apparently, Denchi, battery, the chi is pond. I didn't know that. Electric pond. Okay. This is to send. Okuru. So, miokuru. Like, see you later, to kind of send someone away. Sure, sure, sure. This is a map or a drawing. There's a couple of different things that mean drawings. This one I think always refers to like a explanatory drawing, like some sort of diagram or a map, as it suggests, or things along these lines, not like art drawings or anything like that. But it is also which is used for all sorts of types of pictures. They're all pronounced like ga, moving picture, just to make things exciting. I guess, who cares when you're speaking, and then in writing it matters more. This is goods. So you'll see this in a lot of stores and stuff, describing what they sell. You can think of it as three mouths in a marketplace all shouting at once for something, I guess. This is daily use goods, nichiyohin. Good one to know, perhaps. Cool. This is wash. So on the left, I don't know if we've talked about it before, but this is actually the water radical. So it doesn't really look anything like water, if you can remember what water looks like. Something like, you can't really see what I'm drawing. But when it's used as a radical, it's kind of like squished down and compressed so that it's only just the idea of these drops. And sometimes you won't see this whole like stroke here, you'll just see like another drop coming down the bottom left. So I think of this as like water on the left, so you know it has something to do with water, and then this I always associate with like before, this having the long dash here. We talked about the kanji for before. And then the human legs here, meaning that it's some sort of human activity, so it's kind of like water preparation, like the water thing you do beforehand is washing. So, easy enough, perhaps. This is to pour or concentrate. So if this is like kind of your master on this side and water again on the left side, you can kind of think of like the controller of water, the controller of a liquid is the one who's able to pour it, maybe, I guess. I don't know, something along these lines. Good enough. This is to walk. So the big top part is stop, remember, tomare. And the bottom part is little. So it's kind of like if you think you're coming to a stop, you're like kind of making small movements towards a stop. You're walking. Sure. As aru ayo. And then shinpo. Show. There's like another word that means like sanpa. I thought that would be here. But maybe that's yet another kanji that's used for that. This is the taste of something. So you'll see this a lot to describe a flavor if there's a bunch of words, and then this at the end, that's usually describing what flavor it is. Aji. So this like location flavor is kind of a plain flavor, I guess. And then this is like idea flavor. This is the meaning of something. It's kind of funny. It's good. Mikata. The flavorful direction is someone who is supporting you. Okay. This is night. You can kind of think of it as like the human is underneath the house, hanging out with its large one-eyed bird. That's what you like to do when you're at home. Konban. No, that's evening. Sorry. Konya is this evening. Yeah, I don't know. It's another pretty common one. This is to know or wisdom. So shiteru ka. Do you know this? Things like that. A person you know. Chijin is your friend. A notice, something that's informing you of something, is to shirase. So you can kind of look for this in things, noting that it's like a notice to you. Could be useful if you're living in Japan. This is just a thing. This is a mono. So this shows up in all sorts of compounds. This plus language, monogatari, is of course like story, like we've seen in the Monogatari series. And then pretty much anything with like this at the end is just like that type of thing or whatever. So nomimono, using the verb for drinking, and then mono at the end means that it's a thing that you drink. Or like kaimono, the thing that you were shopping for. Shomotsu, these are books, so it's like the writing thing, stuff like that. Meibutsu, it's pronounced all sorts of different ways apparently. Again, just to keep things interesting. A famous product, again, using the name kanji that we saw before. This is red, aka. The one that I always find funny is akachan, which means baby, you might have heard before, is literally just like little red person. And I think it's like very, very literal that when babies are born, they're usually much redder than normal humans. So it just means like a very, very small infant is the akachan, just the red person. Um, it's also used for equator. I didn't know that. That's kind of interesting, given that in One Piece, the red line is kind of the equator. So it's like, is that why it's called the red line, I guess? And then it's also a mountain, which is red, like in Magic the Gathering? Whatever, sure. This is town. So on the left we have a... Oh, I didn't talk about how to remember red. Whatever. The colors are all fairly arbitrary too. I mean, it's a color. You can't really break it down much more than that. So town, on the left you have a rice field, and on the right you have like a signpost sort of thing. So you can think of this as sort of a small town, machi, downtown, machinaka. You can understand that, the middle of the town. This is low. I don't really know a good way to remember this. It's like a person and then a bunch of stuff going on over here. But this is sort of anything that's being laid low, anything that's moving downwards, things like that. You'll probably see this. This is reside. So you can kind of think of it as this is like the master of the domain, and this is the person who's kind of living underneath them as, I don't know, a serf or a peasant or something along these lines. I'm making these sort of references because I know these are all very, very old characters and such, so you gotta think of what was being contemporarily meant. So this is your dwelling, where you live, sumai, to live within somewhere, sumu as the verb. Your address is the ju, sho. This is just like residential place. This one here we saw before as like shop or whatever, but you can see here it also means just like your home. This is gate. As we saw before, it was like a radical to mean like the span of something, but by itself, it literally means like just the gate that you open. It's used in some compounds that confuse me, but whatever. Like specialist, sure. Senmon, your subject of study. I think you can maybe hear that sometimes when people are talking about subjects. This is daytime or noon. So if you think of this as like part of station, so I kind of often collapse this radical down as to meaning station. This is like the day's station. This is where the day is stationed for this period or whatever. Hiru. Ohiru is your lunchtime meal. It's sort of just an abbreviation of, I guess, like Ohiru rori or whatever, I guess. Hiru yasumi is your lunch break. Oh, hiru shoku. No, chu shoku. Oh, of course, yeah, chu shoku. I've heard that before. And then hiru meshi. This one here meaning meal, as like dungeon meshi. Good one to know. This is to research. Got mixed up for a second, but no, this is for research. I was hearing this just recently. I watched a new episode of Kimono Friends Season 2, and they were talking about their research. Kenkyo. This is like sharpening, and it also kind of just means like a general process of refinement. So this research you're doing to refine your knowledge of something you can think of as this compound. Sure, this is tea. We saw it earlier in chairo, tea colored, right here, chairo. And then ocha is the actual tea that you would order for. Rokucha is your green tea. Mucha, like no tea, is absurd or unreasonable. And then the tea span, your cha no ma, is apparently your living room. So that's kind of cool. The place where you eat tea. Oh, I should have talked about the compound breakdown of tea, because the one on the top is actually very useful to know. This is separate or another. So on the left, it's sort of like your older brother, kind of. And on the right, you can see this is sometimes a radical for like sword or something. So if you kind of, I don't know, like a continuing division through the family or something like that. Betsu is kind of like one at a time or whatever. You may have heard that before. It's just this kanji twice. Whenever you see this second strange character, that just means to repeat the previous kanji. So they'll use that in lots of compounds where it's like the same kanji twice, and it's usually kind of like something that describes the rate of something. So this kind of means like happening one at a time. And tokubetsu, you probably have heard that quite a bit, to mean special. This first part by itself kind of means like a special form of something, and then the second part, I guess, just means like the specialized thing that which then stands alone. This is to begin. Hajimemashita. So you've probably heard that quite a bit at the beginning. This is end and beginning. Shu ushi, beginning and end. Sure. It's a good one to know. This is to use. Remember earlier there was that other one that looked like a rice field with a couple extra sticks coming out that meant to use. I don't know what the difference is. I'm not sure exactly when you use one and when the other, and this is like both of them back to back for extra fun. It's also like emissary, sure. So again, we have our person radical, and then kind of like the middle of something, or I'm not really sure how to break this one down. I just kind of know this one. On the right side, it's quite confusing. This is bright or clear. If you can see both the sun and the moon, you know that it must be very clear out, a nice clear cloudless day. So you also see this to mean tomorrow, ashita, and then the day after tomorrow, like the behind of that day, asate. So you'll hear this one quite a bit when talking about plans and such. This one is to sell. I almost got it mixed up with the previous one. So if it's like some ground with a roof on it and there's human activity taking place within it, maybe they're selling things, I guess. So this you might see this and feel despair. Urikire uru, sold out. The sales have been cut off, I suppose. This one here meaning cut. You see that, you hear that, and you begin to cry. If you were in Japan and looking for fun stuff. This is near. On the right, it's the same radical that's in new. And then on the left is this kind of guiding or path type thing. So if you kind of think of it as like I don't know. This also is used with like fold and like paper and things like that. So maybe it's easier to kind of associate this with like paper, and then it's like just a paper thin distance away. Maybe, I don't know. Um, Chikagoro is lately. I'm pretty sure I've heard that quite a few times. Chikamichi is a shortcut. Cool. This is blue. On the top, it's kind of like emperor or whatever, sort of similar, a little different. And then on the bottom is moon. So if you can kind of think of the color over which like masters the moon, maybe. I don't know. It's hard to come up with a good one for that. But this is Ao or Aoi. You've heard that before. Senshun. Senshun, alright, Senshun, fighto, Senshun, dun, 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 dun. The one Yuri Yuri Edie is using this. This is like blue midday, meaning youth, I suppose. Okay. Seinen is, of course, the genre of manga. Um, for young man's, the blue years. Sure. In English, this all sounds quite depressing, but that's an association that I think doesn't exist in Japanese. This is place. We've seen it in a few radicals before. Again, this kind of like paper-y compound, you can maybe think of it as. So yeah, the base place is kitchen. And tokoro dokoro, again, one of these repeating kanji for meaning kind of like here, there, everywhere, that kind of thing. This is voice. You might have seen this kanji in the title for like koe no katachi, the shape of voice, which was translated into English as a silent voice. You'll see it in, I don't know, I think quite a few things, koe. So I don't really know how to describe this. On the top, there's soil again. On the bottom, someone shouting up through the ground, trying to let their voice out, perhaps. Okoe, it's a big voice. Sure. This is clothing, fuku, like sailor fuku, things like that. So on the left you have moon, which again you can often think of as referring to the body. And on the right, this is again the part that's in friend. So the sort of thing that you and your friends wrap yourselves up in, I guess. So you can see this is usually to describe like a type of clothing rather than necessarily like a specific garment. Western style, Japanese style. This is doctor. The inside of this is arrow. It's kind of like a radical that we'll learn later. And then this around it you can think of as maybe the doctor's office. So he's going to give you an injection with his arrow. Sure. So this is like specifically a doctor of medicine. There's another one for kind of doctorate of other studies. It's a good one to know. Isha, Igaku, it's your medical school. And this one on the left here is animal, dobutsu. So that's a veterinarian, which would make sense. This is to wait. So on the right is like temple, basically, which we can break down sort of as this is like protected ground. This bottom one here is a radical that's usually used for like protected things. And the top one, of course, ground. And then this is like the left part of to go, if you remember, ikeru. So you can kind of think of like, we're gonna go, but oh no, this is like special ground. This is protected ground. We can't go yet, so we gotta wait. So this is matsu. You know, people say that a lot. It's a pretty common thing to hear. People talking about waiting. This is person. So we saw this before as just sort of like the person who does whatever. Yeah, with author, sakusha. Dead person, shisha. Isha we saw just probably a bit ago with doctor. Makes sense, makes sense. Dokusha, this is read person, that's your reader. Easy to know. This is, oh, thing or affair. It threw me off because I was looking for just thing, but koto and mono are sort of different in whether or not it's like an actual physical object. I'm pretty sure mono is always referring to things that could be put into something physical. So even like a monogatari, which is a story, which you might think of as more ethereal, it could be put into a book. So it's a mono instead of a koto. Shokuji, your meal. Actually, that seems a little backwards because that is definitely a substantial physical thing. So I don't know. Maybe I just don't get it. But something more like your personal affairs. Jinji, it's like human thing. Your shi goto, that's your job. That's your duty thing. This is like to go thing. So that's like an event or a function that you're attending. Your gyoji. It's a good one to know. This one shows up all over the place. This is capital, so you'll see this in like Tokyo and stuff, often in place names. I don't know if there's a good way to remember it. You just see it so often in place names that you get used to it. So Tokyo, Kyoto, things like that. This is... What? Which one is this? What? Oh no, what? Which one is this? It's not this, it's not this, it's not this, it's not this, it's not this. It's not, I don't think it's this. I don't think it's this. I think it's this, but I'm not sure why it is. Because, yeah, I associate this with, like, English, that this is ego, the English in ego. Eibun, a sentence in English. And also au, and then I think this second one here is like the yu and yusha for hero or whatever. But I'm pretty sure this second one means masculine, so that again, maybe it's a little misogynistic. But I'm not really, I don't get it, this a prefix. I usually see in compounds referring to English. So that seems like a markedly different attitude than Japan often takes on foreign things, if it also means superb or excellent. So this one, I'm sure you can figure out. Tree. This is woods or a grove. So there's kind of like different tiers of density of trees, I think, depending on which you want to use. Either just ki for one tree, hayashi for some below some threshold of trees, and then you can go all the way to mori, which you see here as the first character here, to mean like an actual full-on forest. So it's kind of like one of those questions: how many grains of sand does it take to become a heap? I don't know. This is watashi. This is like your personal pronoun. There's quite a few personal pronouns you can use in Japanese. This one is usually used by women, children, and people who are speaking a little more formally. I think it's often used in writing quite a lot. Watashi tachi, you'll hear quite a lot for multiple people. If something is private, it's the personal pronoun stand up. Again, this stand up kanji is showing up all over the place. But yeah, this is a good one to know. You'll see this one quite a lot. This is a picture or a drawing. So this is another one that's pronounced e, I'm pretty sure, or e ga, e gi, e. And this is e ga, like motion picture. Ga ka is a painter and artist. Woodblock print, hanga. This is the print part of that. I don't know a good way to remember it. I guess you've got this really nice drawing of a rice field, and you've framed it, something like that. This is younger sister now, right? Or is this older sister? Yeah, it's running back now, the one that because we already did younger sister. So yeah, this is older sister. I didn't know it would do that. It made us redo the one that we got wrong before. So I guess that's good. Yeah, we talked about it. The older sister now goes to the market. Younger sister grew up. She used to go to the market, or so I thought, but it was actually the older sister. All right, so we got a 97. That's a little disappointing. It's so disappointing that I'm actually just going to run through it again really quick. We can time ourselves. Older sister. Wait. T. Pond. No. Younger sister. Goods. Clothes. Picture. Picture, picture, picture. Doctor. Gate. Walk. Oh no! I tried to hit walk, but the words were too similar. Taste. Walk. Younger brother. Run. Low. Doctor. Thing. Map. Someone. Make. Sell. Begin. Body. Port. Port. No, reside. Myself. Capital. T. Oh yeah, so on the top of T, this is like grass. That's all I wanted to point out. Voice. Town. Separate. Pond. Clothing. No. Younger sister. Night. Bright. Oh, my gosh, I can't read. I thought it said bright, but I can't read. Okay, one more time. This is the actual run. This one is poor. This one is no. No, this one is taste. Oh my gosh. This one is younger sister. This one is grove. This one is night. This one is clothing. This one is wait. This is gate. This is younger brother. This is capital. This is wash. This is superb, apparently. This is send. This is red. This is body. This is voice. This is blue. This is thing or affair. This is picture or drawing. This is private eye, not like the detective, but private or yourself. This is village. This is older sister going to the market. This is thing. This is run. This is sell. This is person. This is low. This is reside. This is research. This is doctor. This is daytime. This is bright. This is town. This is walk. This is near. This is pond. This is place. This is tea. This is no. This is make. This is separate or another. This is use. This is goods. And this is begin, ironically at the end. All right, phew. Our little 100 block here didn't get infected with the terrible 97. Yeah, another good set. It's still pretty easy. It's still all ones that I expect I should know inside out. When we get down here, things are going to get real interesting. So I hope you look forward to seeing me struggle through those. And I hope you're still learning something and enjoying this. Okay, bye-bye.